Well, good morning to you, and welcome to this Saturday Snapshot. I hope you are doing well, even though it's a bit gray and hazy outside. It's kind of funny with it being gray and hazy outside, and it's absolutely freezing in my office here. I feel like I have gone up north, but hey, you're not listening to this Snapshot just to get the weather report. I hope you all are doing well. Let me share with you just a few brief announcements so that you are aware of things that are coming. I would love to remind you again. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. This idea of what fun is for me. But when I think about things that we've done as a church that really is a whole lot of fun, I think about when we did the backpack giveaway and the campus was just filled with life and energy and excitement. But even before we did that, we had the opportunity just to shower a whole lot of folks, probably about 60 or 75 cars of people, maybe not that many. I don't remember the number, but when we did Shine Through last year, and it was just truly a moving experience. And if you were not there, you missed an opportunity to just experience a great amount of love from each other. And so I want to encourage you, please mark your calendars, February 5th, from 1 to 3. Show up if you can around 12:30 so we can get everything set up. But it would be awesome. Trust me, it would warm your heart to be a part of a crowd that's on our campus. And we would love to see 75 to 100 people just lining our parking lot, waving to folks, telling them how much we love our neighbors that are coming to pick up their items for the Night to Shine virtual event. And so please make plans to come and be a part of that. Also want to let you know that we are back in our refuel mode, and starting this Wednesday, we will also have small groups for children and youth. And so we're really moving forward in this being a whole family experience. So please mark your calendars. Just a reminder that we need you to make reservations for the meals if you're planning on being there on campus for a meal. I'm looking real quickly just to make sure I've covered. I do want to tell you, and I've talked about this in other settings, but we want to be a church that really is reaching all kinds of people from all different walks of life. And what we do on Sunday morning is we gather a crowd, right? But what we really, where the real ministry happens is in our small groups. And what we do on Sunday morning is an intentional small group, but we can only do those kind of things. We call it Sunday school, but it's really intentional small groups. We can only have as many small groups as we have small group leaders. And our children's department, our youth department, our adults department, we've got wonderful folks that are doing that now. But we'd like to offer more, and we would like to take what we're offering even to a next level so that we can allow different people to be a part of that. So if God's moving in your heart, I know He is, because it's important, and I know it's important to God's heart. That's where we do fellowship. That's where we do life together. So I know God is moving in people's hearts, but what I don't know is if people are actually listening to God in their hearts. So I'm praying that you're listening to God, that you're allowing God to give you that new heart, to give you that new mind. And tomorrow we'll be talking about a new set of eyes. And speaking of a new set of eyes, we're going to be looking at the story of the blind beggar who cried out for Jesus to heal him. And I'm going to be inviting you to reflect on the question that Jesus asked the blind beggar, what do you want? But I also want you to think about this story. This may be a story that you know pretty well, or you've heard it in some time, but the story is about two men who were sharing a hospital room. One man was having fluids drained from his body, from his lungs, and another man was recovering from injuries that required him to lay on his back the entire time. All he could do was look up at the ceiling. He couldn't move his head. He couldn't see anything. The man who was having the fluid drained from his lungs, his bed happened to be the bed next to the window. And so he was the only one who was able to have a view out the window. Well, these two men, because of their life situation, because they were sharing a hospital room, began to strike up a conversation with each other. And they would speak for hours, until they got too exhausted and they would fall asleep. But they would speak about their wives. They'd talk about their families. They talk about, what you talk with each other. They were having a small group with each other. They both had been in the military. They were sharing their stories about that experience. And every afternoon, the man whose bed was nearest the window would take some time to describe to the man who had to look up at the ceiling the whole time what he was seeing outside. And he would, the man who couldn't look out the window would, he just cherished those times. He could not see what the other man could see. And so the man whose bed was next to the window would talk about, as he was looking out at the window, he would talk about a lovely lake. He would talk about the ducks that were swimming on the pond. He would talk about children who were outside playing, and he would talk about young lovers who were walking along the pathway. And he would describe these things, these scenes, in such exquisite detail that the man who could not see felt like he was right there in its midst. One afternoon, the man who was looking out the window was describing a band that was there, and the man who could not see couldn't hear the instruments, but the man had described it so well that he could almost feel the instruments playing in his body. And several weeks later, the man who had been in the bed next to the window passed away. The nurse had come in to check on him and realized that he had passed during the night. He had passed in his sleep, and which obviously meant now that the bed next to the window was now going to be unoccupied. And so the man who had not been able to see, the nurse and the attendants were able to shift him over to move him next to in the bed next to the window. And so while the man who had been in this bed, unable to see, he began to prop himself up in his bed, and he looked out the window. And when he looked out the window, what he noticed was that outside the window was a blank white wall. There was no park. There was no pathways. And so he wondered, what caused the man who could see to describe what wasn't there, but did it in such exquisite detail that he caused the man who could not see to feel like that he could actually see what was out there. And the nurse said, perhaps he just wanted to encourage you. My friends, the mission of the church, part of the mission of the church, is to help those who are blind to see. But we first have to see it ourselves. You see, the man who was looking out on the blank white wall didn't see a blank white wall. He saw a park. He saw ducks swimming on the park. He saw lovers walking on a pathway. He saw children playing, and he communicated that to a man who was blind and caused him to see. My invitation to us is, are we a church that is causing people, that's helping people to see what God intends for us to see? My hope and prayer as you think about this story, and I hope you'll make plans to be with us either in person or online tomorrow, but be in prayer that God will give you new eyes for this coming year. Hey, thanks for being with me. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day. And again, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care.